Hey, Rajendra, I think you have a question now.
Yes, Dr. Suhail, you mentioned about AI, of course, many a times. So, in the past century, has been tremendous technological advancement and revolutions in the field of communication. That is, internet or ease of travel. So, the world has become a small place of all level interactions between people from various countries. Has never been this high. We are slowly seeing a global culture evolving out of this change. The question is, do you think these changes are precursors to the world government as envisioned by PROUT?
Well, I'm hopeful. But again, as Sarkar argued, there's pathways. So I remember when I was 18, I think, I read an article by Sri Sarkar. He said, one day mind will enter technology. As an 18-year-old, what mind will enter technology? What does that mean? So I just, okay, interesting, way beyond my ability to understand. And suddenly we get generative AI, right? The aha, mind has entered technology. And then you can now see that's iteration two. You can see iteration three, four, five, six. So in that sense, when young people ask me, they said, what should I do? Will my job be taken by AI? So phase one is, well, you need to, your job will be taken by someone who knows AI. So you need to develop those skill sets. Phase two is again systemic. As AI does more and more, we become designers. So when I work with teachers, they go, aha, if I use this well, I don't have to do the long lecture. I now am teaching critical literacy. I'm giving spiritual skills. I'm teaching emotional literacy. I'm now a guide, not content expert. And some say this will be very freeing. I hate those long lessons I have to do every day. I can now, instead of one lecture for 50, AI does the lecture. I meet with each one and do personalized knowledge. So this is the two levels. In one sense, we can personalize health. Each person, you have the genome, you have their brain scan. So what diet does that person need? What practice does that person need? It's a full personalized health experience. So not generic, personalized. But phase two, where we're going to, if we have AI for the greater good, right now we still have algorithms of oppression. AI is being done by particular groups in the world. So when we were working in Vietnam, we said, aha, what would AI with the Vietnamese face look like? Because AI is designed by humans. If you wanted to look like your culture, what are some features you can look like? What would AI with a spiritual face look like? Did a workshop with the Thailand Institute for Justice a few months back. And they said, okay, as Buddhists, we would like to develop holograms of the Buddha. So each person gets their own interactive hologram of Siddhartha Gautama. And that interactive hologram speaks to them, talks to them, reminds them, works with them, becomes their angel spiritual guide. So that was the idea. But luck in the room, we had many engineers that goes, okay, let's look at the coding required to do this. There's a coding issue. And someone said, that's a coding issue. It's also a platform issue. How do we develop a platform to create spiritual holograms? And phase four was, where do we get the funding? So now you can see this going further in terms of the future of spirituality, the future of meditation, real time saying, okay, well, you said you were going to meditate, but actually for the last 20 minutes, you've just been thinking about basketball or world government. You actually haven't been focused. So the AI quickly intervenes and says, go back to your purpose. Now you may say that's too much, so you turn it off. But in your question, then, so is developing systems, rules, and AI, where in fact it's AI for the good. That's the moral humanism part. And it's AI as we get more productive, we start to envision what Sarkar talked about, working 3, 4 hours a day as designers, working with the conflicts between me and you in organizations. So our core purpose transitions, as is the world we've transitioned from agriculture and industrial, we're now entering the new digital AI era. Those rules are being created. And you don't need 1,000 parliamentarians, right? So Sarkar talked about partyless politics. What does he mean by that? How do you cohere different worldviews if you don't have political parties, right? It seemed nonsense when he wrote that in 1958, I believe. Now it's obvious. Real-time global regional referendums on issues that matter. Quick AI issue, pollution has jumped up. What do you recommend we do as citizens? And we take a real-time referendums globally. So that's that segue in terms of party democracy to personalized democracy. Now, those rules are still being created. And I think Sarkar's idea, well, you first start regional. We have an EU, let's create an Asian Union, an African Union. As those regions get more powerful, they protect local culture. And as they get more powerful, then you can start to give up traditional culture and create what he argued for new planetary culture. That's a transition. But phase one is protecting local cultures which have been suppressed. Phase two of planetary culture. So for me, I talk about it as PROUT 1.0, PROUT 2.0. PROUT 1.0 is making sure AI increases jobs for all. PROUT 2.0, I think what you're hinting at, is ensuring that we don't need jobs. We've entered a purpose dream economy where you just need to work a few hours a day. Now, you cannot get elected on a platform as I will ensure no one has a job, right? No one's going to get elected. So this is the difference between today, extreme scarcity of love, of goods, etc., to the beginning of this new world and PROUT 2.0, which is full abundance. Abundance of spirit, abundance of technology, abundance of food. If you look at cellular agriculture, again, if you look at Sarkar's code 40, 50 years ago, you'll just need tablets. That seemed really strange. And now, in the last 10 years, we've developed cellular agriculture, the ability to create synthetic protein. Now, that will take a while before it's accepted, before it fits into our bodies, but you can see that transition. Then suddenly the main issue of food scarcity disappears. And if you work with farmers, they're scared to death, which is your issue, right? How do you make the transition so people who are dependent on an income source, whether it's farming, whether it's engineering, whether it's future studies, have a segue out to do something else? So that becomes part of the transition. So that's individual, regional, and global. So those are the three stages: short-term, medium, long-term. So PROUT, I would try to clarify to people, when are you doing PROUT 2.0? The long-term future, interplanetary travel, global governance. PROUT 1.0, this regions using co-ops to ensure full productivity for work. Those are two different arguments, and they can be confused.
Thank you. Thank you, Sohail. I think about AI, we all know most of the things, but the thing is, people say that AI will not take a job, but the people will not use AI may lose the job. That is the present situation is being talked. But we know that our life is physical, mental, and spiritual. I have no doubt about mental and spiritual development with help of AI. Of course, AI will help. But about the basic needs guarantee, which is the very baseline of PROUT, how AI can help unless our thought process doesn't change to make sure that every individual have a basic needs guarantee. That is what Pierre Sarkar says. And that's the first requirement of the PROUT.
So in this sense, in the way you're framing it, AI reduces inefficiencies, water leakage, increased energy through AI plus solar. You're increasing energy, reducing inefficiencies. That's phase one. Phase two is reducing inequities, real-time information on what's equal, what's unequal. So there's the information part, there's the inefficiency part. AI can help there. AI then produces new products. So, right, so the time to do a report before ChatGPT would have been 1 to 3 months, right? Now you can get the basic report done in a few hours. And then you spend another 1 day or two to make sure the culture, the essence, the energy has your feeling around it, right? Your prana. Now you've gone from a 3-month project to a 3-day project. So that's increased efficiency and increased productivity. Now that with a wealth cap, Maxi Mini creates not just increased productivity, amazing wealth and a circulation of wealth, but that needs rules and regulations around that. And right now, as you said earlier, the corporate framework doesn't have those. And I remember Dada Prana used to say, the metaphor is more, 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 more. And he wanted to change that metaphor to enough. What's enough? What's the well-being? How much do we need? So the Gandhian one was everyone has less. This is how PROUT differs. The PROUT one, no, we have more spirit, more mental, more physical, but it's not just more, it's the why, it's the right amount. You're going up to koshas, what's actually needed. That's the discrimination. So it's quite a different way of thinking about the future. It's not really reduction, it's enhancing new products, which is a well-being is one of the biggest ones, right? We don't want pollution. So AI can reduce pollution quite quickly. So that's how I would try to frame it. Now, the other part which we've not entered is vidya avidya. Clearly, I work a lot with law enforcement, and it was very clear from a year ago in our workshops is with AI will dramatically increase the ability to harm others, whether through weaponized military systems or through cybercrime, cyber theft, and we're seeing that now. So our last project in Intrapol was how do we develop a global law enforcement chat GPT system? Because organized crime is always looking for innovation, not just PROUT. And we want to be ahead so we can protect the vulnerable and the weak.
Yes,
I
so
want to follow up.
yeah, with any technology, the counter technology also should be parallelly developed. That is why, otherwise we are moving nowhere. Thank you so much,
Exactly.
Dr. Suhail. Thank you so much for.
Okay.
Thank you. I want to follow up on that because I recall that P.R. Sarkar mentioned that science should always be in the hands of people who follow moral principles. And that seems to be really the key, especially with so much of the future depends on technology. If the technology gets into the wrong hands, we may see a future that we don't want.
No, I think it's already in the wrong hands. So we see the AI tech-enabled military systems. So this goes back to earlier press, a global regulatory scheme that says, here's what you can AI do, AI for, here's what we can't. And so the university used to be a place where you experiment, innovate within rules bound. As universities enter the capitalist system and the market decides, we know that disappears to some extent, not totally, but then market measures overwhelm the moral measures. So I think the AI for the good movement is we need global regulatory mechanisms to ensure that AI is for the greater good. And we don't have those yet. So in that sense, it becomes, as in earlier races, a kind of a weapons AI race. That doesn't mean as citizens, we can use it daily for the good, but it does mean that, as we said earlier, the in-between eras is the problem. We're in an unstable era, and none of us can predict with accuracy what will happen. We know there's patterns. We know the capitalist system will certainly end, and we're all hoping for a kind of a spiral synthetic to a new global governance system. There's a great physicist, Nikolai Kardashev. He talks about the problem of planetary systems, not world systems, but planetary systems. And he suggests the reason why we have no evidence of first contact is because other civilizations of the cosmos blow themselves up because the contradiction between individualism, groupism, and energy is not met. So you get climate change or you get global pollution and planets destroy themselves. So he said the only way forward is a global governance system with renewable energy. That takes, he says, 100, 200 years now to make that transition, which is humanism plus renewables. As that's done, now we're basically a galactic, we're a solar-based system. Then we leave the planet and start to explore. That's a type 2 civilization. That takes 1,000 years. We become explorers. I think P.R. Sarkar talked about. Type 3 civilization, of course, is 10,000 years from now. that's full ability to use matter mind through microbiota to create. That's PROUT 3.0. Let's not even go there. But at least we can know there's transitions to be made as we go forward. If you look at Sarkar's work in microbiota, MV enhancing rocket fuel, I mean, how do you even understand that? That reminds me when I was 18, mining technology, it made no sense forever. And now, how would microbiota enhance rocket fuel? Again, that's outside my ability. So I put that under PROUT 3.0. This is when we leave the planet. This planet is Gaian, healthy, well-being, and we want to explore spirit and explore other planets and galaxies and solars, etc. So that's really pushing it.
So ultimately, the future is in our hands. What did you say?
So this is, again, the brilliance of PROUT. Yes, but there are structures to history. There are patterns. And those patterns we honor and we try to move from a cycle. If you look at the three big shapes in history, there's 4 or 5, but 3: linear, progress, more tech. Some people are better than others. Hierarchy plus tech leads to progress, right? Cyclical was, well, everyone has their time. If you're a leader one day, you're going to overdo it, invest wrongly, you'll be at the bottom 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now. The cyclical versus linear. PROUT is unique, says, we can have a positive image of the future that's bright, and we can understand the cycle of history to stay humble. That's the uniqueness. It's quite dramatic.
Well, the future looks very bright, it seems.
I think that's Pollock talks about that. You have the ability to make the future as actually your suggestion, Madhu Sadhana, and the future is bright. That puts you in a very powerful position. As long as your camel is tied.
Well, we'll try to keep our camels tied. Thank you.
I mean, and that's metaphor is different for everyone. You know, does that mean locking your door at night? Does that mean making sure you have new skills as the world changes? Everyone has a different story for that. It's allowing and envisioning at the same time.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Inayatullah. This has been a phenomenal and enlightening conversation. Thank you to our panelists. And Dr. Inayatullah, would you like to have any last words?
No, I appreciate what you folks are trying to do. This is really using PROUT in new frameworks and new forums and having that conversation. And for each person who's listening, the key is, who are you in this story? So this is the critical part. I was working with one large international organization, and they said, we're a flotilla of canoes. We're not just a confederated state. Okay, great. If you're a flotilla of canoes, who are you? And the CEO said, I'm the master navigator. The secretary says, I make sure the wood in the canoes is nicely oiled. Someone else says, I make sure there's fuel. So everyone had a story within the larger story. So in this case, to find that agency, ability to influence, you have to know what's your metaphor in the larger project, because that gives you purpose and clarity and direction. What do I do next? Then you use the text, the ideas, as a guidepost, but it's still you within the text. So who are you within the text? So I became very clear, and I was lucky, to figure out, for me when I was young, here's my role. There's no right or wrong role here. Here's my role in terms of making a better planet. So that's that first critical part. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciated this. Great questions, and really enjoyed being with all 4 of you.